Princess of Wales sighting on the horizon.
And Harry and Meghan hemorrhage household staff to save a buck. Hi, all. Welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan right here in sunny California.
And I'm Rupert Bell. I've had a week at Wimbledon, so I need to lubricate the larynx for this latest edition of Heirs and Spares, but I will be bringing you all the news, as usual, from Great Britain about the Prince and Princess of Wales.
Okay, fun poll here, Rupert. It says Jail Partners polling firm released a survey of 1,000 U.S. voters in which 19% said they favor replacing the sitting U.S. president with the British monarchy. More than 1 in 3 of 19 to 29-year-olds surveyed said that they would favor a restoration of royalty. And they're not talking about American royalty like, oh, I don't know, LeBron James or Madonna, the Queen of Pop. They're saying the actual British king, King Charles. I imagine that number would even jump if they were asked about Prince William. Does that surprise you? I mean, not to get political, but the royal family has maintained a pretty good brand in the last, I don't know, 1,000 years.
Well, it's been a solid brand, and look, you're a testament to it because you're obviously interested in the brand Royal. By the way, I've got to check out your location. I'm just in a house in Southwest 19, but you sort of trumped me with all kinds of, with a palm tree in the background and the wind blowing, presumably off the Pacific Ocean. Anyway,
Yes.
a very glamorous looking location. But anyway, the idea of Americans having a monarchy. I mean, they couldn't wait to get rid of George III. I don't think. Well, back in the day, and I think what it probably reflects, if there's anything, it's the sort of stability factor. Because, as you say, you don't want to get political. The fact of the matter is, these are turbulent times in your country, and I'm not saying it's not turbulent times over here. So I'm not suddenly saying one is better than the other. So I'll leave that for all to decide. But ultimately, there is, it's what I always say about the British monarchy. If you're going to get rid of it, make sure you come up with something that actually is better than. If you are going to get rid of it. So I always say to Republicans, yeah, okay, fine. You have every right to disagree with the principle of a monarchy. And hence the reason the Americans got rid of it. But unless you can come up with something that actually means we have a better head of state that's not some failed politician, ex-prime minister in our case, or someone who feels that they should have the job, I'm not sure that, we should even be contemplating it. And that's why the stability factor. But as I always say, the royal family have to work at making sure that they bring the public along with them. But the fact is, even any Americans think that they would think that a monarchy is of value. It's quite interesting in the modern circumstance, but I think it probably comes down to the fact there is a sort of solidity, and as you say, 1,000 years worth of history that has attracted lots of Americans. We wouldn't be doing this program if people weren't interested in the concept of the royal family and the individuals within it, good and bad, if you see where I'm coming from, Kinsey. So it is quite interesting that even however many it was, but I don't expect to see a monarchy anytime soon running or being the head of state in your country. I'm not sure. The Constitution will be in a very confused and bewildered state at your Constitution if that was the case.
That's a very good point, but I love the answer. I love the answer that it's stability, because that whenever anyone asks me about our appreciation for Queen Elizabeth, I always just say you cannot compete with that comfort and stability. Along with this article, because this is a great NPR article, they also mentioned starting next year, the Prince and Princess of Wales will begin to grant the Royal Warrants, and this is the Crown Seal of Approval for goods and services. What is that? Tell us what that is and
well,
how that works.
If you, I mean, you've been to London, but if you suddenly see a range of services, I mean, if you go down near St James's, you'll go into Hatters, by appointment to the King and Queen now. The Queen would have plenty of different royal appointments. You're basically, it's the royal household think, well, you're quite good and I like your products. And you're giving that brand a seal of approval. So just as the Prince and Princess of Wales, the current king did it before, it will be the turn of the Prince and Princess of Wales to dole out sort of, if there's, supplying something for them. You get dry cleaners, I think, have even got royal appointments. I mean, I don't know whether there is plumbers with royal appointments to go and sort out the royal chamber pot. I don't know. Well, I'm sure there are. The builders, we know that would be hatters, clothing people, all sorts of people have royal warrants. So I do think, look, it's a sort of seal of approval that by the members of the royal family. So I don't know what the Prince and Princess of Wales might deem worthy of their seal of approval, but I'm sure we might see it in a year. But I can imagine it might be, products with or companies with an environmental bent in the Prince and Princess of Wales sort of idea, because they will be, that they give them the seal of approval. So they won't just be glad handing them out willy-nilly. They will be thinking, right, is their product something that we should be sanctioning because it fits their brief? And so that will be, I think, what we're likely to see whenever we get the first one.
Are you saying that they're like the original influencers?
Well, the royal family, they would have been. Yes, I think that would have been. Yes, if you got I've been walking around Wimbledon and I saw some. I think I did see it was a laundry firm, that had a real royal seal of approval, because they obviously do the royal bed linen. I don't know which company it was, but I think that's the sort of thing that you can hand out. And there's plenty of them, drink manufacturers, Scotch whiskey, there are various ones out there. So I think it's just a sort of historical anomaly. I don't know when the first one was sort of given, but it's been around for a very long time. And one or two firms have lost their royal appointment since the death of the Queen. I can't think on top, because you can't keep it. It has to be maintained.
Yeah,
So
like it makes it more special if it evolves.
Yeah, it has to, because companies change. I mean, probably back in the day, there might have been, by, the royal guillotine man. I don't know. I mean, I've been slightly dark and primitive, but there would have been all sorts of different people back in the day if they were doing it way back when. I don't know. I mean, that's probably a rather extreme example, but I'm being slightly flippant. But
also, there is an extreme possibility that you're being accurate. Okay, back over here to, actually no, let's stay on Harry. Let's stay on Prince William and Catherine. Buckingham Palace confirms that the Princess of Wales is going to join Prince William this week. This is what you were teasing. This great Kate sighting. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will join Prince William for a carriage ride through the streets of Windsor with the French President when he visits this week, Buckingham Palace announced. Now they're scheduled to arrive July 8th. How neat that William and Catherine are going to greet them at an airbase near London before the four proceed to Windsor, where King Charles and Queen Camilla are going to be waiting. Visually, this is something really to look forward to. I know that a lot happens behind closed doors that we don't have access to, but those visuals of the arrival up to Windsor Castle, that should be a lot of stimulating eye candy for royal watchers.
I think it will be, because obviously if they're in a royal procession, the Macrons will be arriving. I assume they'll be arriving at Farnborough Airport, which is a sort of private jet place. So presumably the French presidential plane, helicopter, whatever, is only coming from Paris, will land at Farnborough. They will greet them, and then I imagine they won't be taking the carriage all the way from Farnborough, but I'll probably drive to a certain point and then take something through the streets of Windsor. I mean, remember, your president had his state visit going to Windsor Castle, and that's where the Queen trailed 3 or 4 steps behind him as he stormed off. But the interesting one about these state visits, as we always say, there's a lot of politics at play in them. And obviously, if the Princess of Wales come out and she's all togged up, we missed her at Ascot. This will be her first proper sighting since the weekend before Ascot, when she was at various events, including the King's birthday parade. So I think it's significant from that, because I've obviously been at Wimbledon. We haven't seen her there this week, but I imagine what we're likely to do is see her on Wednesday being part of this. And it is an important one because there's a lot going on between France and Britain at the moment on all kinds of levels, whether it be just defence. We've got immigration issues. There's a lot going on. So this will be a significant state visit, of which the royal family can put their steady hand on the tiller within that. And because both the King and the Prince and Princess of Wales are great Francophiles, so I'm sure it will be a very important moment for all. And then we're likely, it's finals weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Wimbledon, and I assume, what I'm likely to think, we probably will see the Princess of Wales at one of those. And I imagine last year, I think we saw Charlotte come along as well. So there's a fair chance, because William may be interested in going over to Switzerland, where the Lionesses, and you want to know who the Lionesses are, because I'm sure you're not across it, but the Lionesses are our England women's football team, which are the defending champions in the European Championships. And he is, of course, president of the FA. I know when I start talking about football, viewers roll their eyes, but you can't get away from it.
Isn't this an important story? Because wasn't he criticized in years past for that people felt like he didn't support them enough? So this really is an important story.
Well, there was rugby, then we're saying jetting in. Obviously, I talk about him, Aston Villa. No, but when it comes to the England football team, I don't think you can ever accuse him not being a absolute confirmed football fan. And there were pictures when England won the European Championships 4 years ago. He was right out there at Wembley leading the triumph, and it was a big moment. So I think he might be nipping over to see England. And hasten to add, we haven't got off to a great start. We got beaten by France. So the Entente Cordiale went a bit out there ahead of the state visit. So whereas I'm pretty sure we'll see the Princess of Wales, bearing in mind, the king doesn't like tennis, although I've heard, and I was reading somewhere, that now royal household staff don't have to wear all white if they use the hard courts at Buckingham Palace. Now the king has made it an edict. The late Queen hated tennis, so and didn't enjoy going. Under sufferance, she went in 1977, I think, to see Virginia Wade win Wimbledon in her silver jubilee year, which was a bit of a landmark moment to win the biggest tennis tournament of them all. But I don't think the King's a great fan. I'm not sure Camilla might be, because I think she's been here, no problem. Princess of Wales, I'm not sure necessarily the Prince of Wales is a huge tennis fan. So I think they can sort out their sporting allegiances, and then she can take Charlotte, and then maybe George and Louis may go off to the football. I know that sounds horribly sexist.
No, you're right.
But you know what I mean.
What I was going to say was even worse. I was actually going to say I can't wait to see what sunglasses Charlotte wears, because she is so cute on the court, dressed so fierce. She's like a little mini me with her mom. All right. We postponed it as long as we can, but now we have to talk Meghan and Harry.
Oh.
I don't think this surprises you that Page Six is reporting that Harry and Meghan are reducing staff to save money. They don't say I don't think that they say exactly who's dropped off lately, but they say the grand total of professional staff is 25. And it says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have scaled back the size of their household staff in an effort to save money. The former working royals have seen their staff numbers dwindle since they relocated to the U.S. They've cut ties with their comms team as they focus on saving cash. We did hear last month that they lost 6 employees and including 2 of their in-house reps. Now we're told the grand tally is 25 since 2020. I mean, the return on investment, it's not there when you look at what we can see them accomplishing. The Netflix deal, they haven't re-signed. They lost Spotify. You know, approximately $40,000 made from Limonada. I mean, I don't know if the return on investment is there for all of that staff.
Well, I don't think the communications teams have been very good, but I'm not sure they're allowed to be very good. Is that true? I mean, let's be honest, because they can't do what they want. I mean, some of the communications have been quite appalling. I mean, even on the 4th of July, I mean, didn't we see an Instagram with a platter of some, just laying out fruit and some cheese? And that was supposed to be brilliant. Whoop-de flipping do. I'm sorry. I mean, if you want, I can go and get some, I'll go and get something from the supermarket, which I've just bought to have as my supper here in Wimbledon, and put it on, and then I'll sort of sprinkle something on it and say, look what I've done. And that cocktail, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know, did you see that cocktail one? She put out that cocktail with some, what did she say? Squish some raspberries. Then she thought some gin and tonic on top, and then put some blueberries on top, and then added some, I don't know, some ice with flour sprinkles or something. And you go, well, that's clever. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a gin and tonic with fruit. It's like, with Pimm's. Pimm's is basically, it's a good Pimm's. You put a bit of that at Pimm's. Then you put some lemonade. And if you want to add it a little bit, you may add a splash of vodka. But the important thing is you then just heap it with fruit. Mint, cucumber, strawberries. It's a perfect British summer drink. And that's Wimbledon. Pimm's is a classic thing. It's like our friends with the fizzy drink that comes in a red can, the secret recipe. No one knows what's in a Pimm's. But that was just naff. And then that plate of food. I'm sorry, just sort of laid out a platter.
You're looking at it going, anybody else would not score a Netflix deal with this display.
Well, I mean, no. And then at the same time, the communication team are battling a series, everything's been a negative. Now, you want to say, but the podcasts have gone down badly. So they actually haven't been allowed to do their job. So I can see why, because nothing is turning to gold at the moment. And I don't know what the average salary in the PR world is, but I'm sure, it's punchy, isn't it, in your neck of the woods? I'm sure it's a pretty near a six, some people will be thinking they deserve nearly a six-figure sum in dollars. I think I'd want about a seven-figure sum to work for that family. And then, and take it on the chin. And I'd make sure I'd have a get-out clause if I was given short shrift after about 2 weeks. But it's not an easy business employing anybody. And if you're going to run a PR team, they've got to be allowed to do their job. And, we can see that the PR has not been rock and roll at the moment. Look, you see it, even around the launch of the managing 1 minute we've got products, and hasn't the rosé already sold out? I mean, what's that about?
And you had to buy. I mean, I laughed when I logged onto the website when it first went live, and oh my gosh, there's just cute little dogs everywhere. While you were talking, a plane went ahead of me, promoting Nicolas Cage's new movie, and it was so loud, so I was like trying to hear.
No, I never heard it. Never heard it.
I muted my mic.
What's it called? What's this one called?
It's about surfing. It's about surfing, which is why it's over the beach. But anyway,
no, horror. Sorry, it's not. If he got horror movie, what? Suddenly he's got a snake in his surfboard or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's the snakes on the surfboard. But it was interesting because she conveniently made you buy 3, 6, or 9 at a time. And the second I saw that, I said, "This is their new strategy to sell out. You're required to buy in bulk."
Well, yeah, and I can understand, if you're shipping. So buying 3 makes sense. Why buy 1? Because that takes.
But it's new, so there's no guarantee that you like it.
No, but I mean, no, there's no guarantee. Obviously, we're not going to get it over here because presumably you can't ship it here. The only way you're going to do it is if someone brings it over, and I'm sure there are media outlets over here who are desperately trying to get their mitts on it. But if it was sold out we're back to square one again. So what's the point? If you're going to launch a product, make sure and particularly if you're selling it at, whatever it is, quite punchy sums, plus postage and packaging, And I don't know whether every state you can't ship some alcohol into some states. It's not straightforward alcohol in the United States. So every state seems to have a different rule, if I'm not mistaken. You all feel you have to walk out of the liquor store with your sort of secret stash in your brown paper bag. In some states, isn't that right? I don't know what it's like in California, but I imagine
Yeah, I went to
sort
visit
of.
my grandma one time, and I was in a dry county. I went into
Yep.
Walmart and I was like, "Can you point me in the direction of Champagne?" I was much younger then. And they were like, "You're in a
Yeah.
dry county, girl." Okay, agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching.